Boom! There it is, ladies and gents. It is my favorite day of the week.
S-H-I-T.
So
happy it's Thursday.
We got a great show for you guys today. Everybody wants to be in real estate. Nobody wants to make some mistakes. Let's figure out what the hell happens when we make some of these mistakes and how to avoid them. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah. All right. All you business pros out there, before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder, as always, to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, drop a review, help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and honored to bring another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Today's guest is an expert at one of my favorite topics in business and investing, the art of real estate. Our guest is an expert in making sure that your home gets sold fast, and he makes sure that it is as easy and stress-free as possible for his clients. Boy, I'm twisting this up. Sorry about that. He is on a mission to change the way people view We Buy Houses companies, and he's well on his way to being known as a differentiator in that market. As much as our guest truly loves renovating and remodeling homes, his proudest moment isn't seeing the end result of a beautiful home. It's when he's able to give back to the community, giving kids and families a fair shot with every single home they buy. Tune in to learn how our guest is changing the way we view real estate wholesalers and how he is making it happen with zero agent fees and commissions. What? Joining us today out of San Pedro, California, welcome to the show, John Medina.
Ooh, there it is, Ham. Dropping the heat. What do you think, John?
Hey, great! Oh, that was awesome, man. That was a great intro. Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited to have some fun here with you guys. So let's get it going. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. You said before we hopped on the show, you've been doing a number of these podcast things for a while. 3 minutes into the show, how do we compare?
Oh, man, this is, you know what I like about you guys? You guys bring the energy, man. I'm all pumped up right now. I love it. I feel like I'm playing for the Lakers. I'm going to run out on, they just dropped the curtain, man. It's on. It's awesome.
That's right.
Number 24, standing 6'8".
Exactly.
R.I.P.
5'2".
It works. All right, let's do this thing. There's a lot of questions when it comes to real estate. People want to get into this space. They watch a little bit of HGTV and they think they're professionals and they're going to go make a killing in this industry, and it's not quite as easy. You're doing something a little more niche, a little more specific. So if you could explain it like as simple as possible to like a fifth grader, for example, what is it that you do, John?
Well, so we're real estate investors. So we buy and sell houses. But what's unique about us is that we buy houses directly from homeowners. We're not real estate. We're not real estate agents, and we make it simple on people. So we use a single page contract. We open escrow with a local escrow company, and we pay cash for the houses. And then what's great about it is take what you want with you and leave the rest behind. So we're truly just telling people, like, take what you want with you and leave the rest behind, and we'll handle it. We'll just make it easy on you. So it's kind of too good to be true, right?
Leave the rest behind. So this is something that I don't think people quite understand, because there's people who are my age and maybe a little bit younger, and they're like, why the hell would I leave anything behind? I don't understand why. I don't get that. But they don't understand the other side of, the lifespan. There's a lot of people, especially in the last few years, who are aging up. They're entering retirement and aging out, meaning it's the end of their lives, and they're leaving behind these homes with 30 years worth of stuff that they've gotten picked up. And oftentimes there's situations where, you can't really move over to where your parents used to live or your grandparents used to live. And so you just kind of want to get rid of the property as fast as possible with as little headaches as possible. And I think this is where you come in, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because you think about it, like say someone lived in a house for 30 years, they have 30 years of life that they've accumulated. And sometimes people just don't want to take it with them. Sometimes the stuff isn't really, it's not valuable to them anymore. And they rather just basically take when I say take what you want with you and leave the rest behind, you'd be surprised what people leave behind. And sometimes it's one dumpster, it could be two dumpsters. They just like the fact that they just can take take their values that they still cherish. And if there's stuff in there that they don't want, they can leave it behind. And some people inherited houses and they just inherited a bunch of stuff that they don't want. So that's a big thing too. And most of the time, if you sell the house on the market with the real estate agent, the house has to be clean, has to kind of be broom swept. You got to get everything out of there. We don't care about that. So we make it a lot easier on people. It's part of our service.
Well, the other part about inheriting property is not only is it 30 years of mess, it's also 30 years of wear and tear. Like, when you inherit a property or when you're ready to get rid of a property, sometimes you don't have the cash on hand and can't go through the financing process to do work necessary to put it on the market. So what happens in that situation? What if there's work that needs to be done? And I'm talking like, corroded bathrooms or, kitchens with cabinets half falling off. Is that cool too?
Totally. That's a great question. I mean, that's what we do. So we're going to buy the house and renovate it. So we're not too interested in you guys, people fixing stuff up because it's not necessary. We're going to do that, after we buy the house. So basically, you don't have to do any repairs. It's just as is. So when we say as is, it's as is. We just basically, we buy the house for cash. We can close quickly, and then or on a term or on a time frame that you're comfortable with. And then from there, it's like, if the bathroom needs work, we don't care. We're going to redo it anyways, right? So it just makes it really easy on people.
Let me ask you this then, because the real estate space is really competitive. There's so many people who are, inventory right now is like super low, meaning there are less and less people who are out there trying to sell their homes. So, really a good real estate agent doesn't necessarily mean that they're an expert in contracts or anything like that. Those are great perks, but a really good real estate agent is really good at generating new leads and new business. So, is in your business, you're trying to buy up houses. So you're competing with the real estate agent because they're trying to list the property. You're trying to go direct to the buyer or direct to the seller and get their home sold. How are you getting leads? How are you generating business?
We generate business through the internet. So we have a website, johnmedinabuysHouses.com. And what we do is we drive people to the website. And from there, they read the information. And some other numerous stuff, Facebook and social medias and referrals too. So people read over it, they fill out a form, or they give us a call, and we just walk them through the process. If it's a good fit for them, then we decide if it's a good fit. If we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us, then we take some information down and and then basically maybe go out and inspect the house and then go ahead and make them an offer.
So how do you narrow down what an ideal client is? Like who, if every business has their ideal customer avatar, who are you going after on these online ads?
I would say the ideal customer is somebody that maybe inherited a house, somebody that has a house that needs a lot of work. They don't want to do, obviously, like what you brought up, they don't have the cash to fix it. Or they just don't, with COVID, let's face it, not that many people some people just don't want anybody in their house. They just basically want to make them an offer. They kind of already know, I think, in their head what they want. If we're close on the price, we could negotiate something out, either, up or down wherever we end up, and we're able to buy their house. And it's just really a simple process. So there's not a lot of paperwork. Like I said, there's no showings. It's just really simple.
So, oftentimes it's not always price as the main factor why people want to sell their homes, right? There's oftentimes other situations. Yeah, of course, everybody wants the best price for their home, but that's not always the number one motivating factor for a seller to sell. When you're addressing some of these different motivating factors, for me, I start thinking terms, right? So if it's price that's not always there, sometimes there's some terms that we may be able to negotiate in order to make this deal happen. What kind of terms or flexibility do you have for sellers?
Well, I think as far as terms, in different parts of the country, a lot of people They might do some creative financing and stuff like that. We don't really offer that here in Los Angeles because the prices are so expensive. But I think the best thing that we could offer people is that we have core values that we live by, that everybody in the company knows, and that's how we treat people. So with those core values come do the right thing, treat people fairly. They're everything's just really outlined, and through those core values, we treat people the way we would want to be treated. And that's probably the number one reason people do business with us. And sometimes if it is just the price, maybe we're not the right fit for you. Because sometimes people really want money for their house. It's just not possible for us to give them. Maybe even on the open market with a real estate agent. Some people are just unrealistic on the prices, right? But once we enter in business with people, especially in the escrow process, we take care of people. We walk them through the process. We just give them great service. And I think that's probably the best terms that we can offer, is that we just do what we say we're going to do. That's one of our biggest core values. We just do what you say you're going to do, and treat people fairly, and just respect them, and just give them great customer service. And that's probably our best thing that we offer.
You're dealing with a lot of transactions on a month-to-month, year-to-year basis. What was it like building out a team? Where did you start off at, and how did you build a team to get through this? Because I'd imagine you didn't come to LA with millions of dollars in your pocket to start buying houses cash, right?
Yeah. And that's been the process. So I kind of started in 2014. And when I first started, it was just me. My wife didn't really help. It was just me by myself. I had a plumbing business before I did this. So I kind of just stopped my plumbing business at the end of 13 and went right into house flipping in 14. Now I did do some, for 3 or 4 years, I did do some research, and I took some classes, and I kind of educated myself. So I kind of hit the ground running in 2014. And yeah, it was just me by myself, and it was a lot of work, right? I think I hired an assistant, but it was just really, really a lot of work, and I was doing everything myself. And then as time went on, I was on that, the roller coaster of an entrepreneur, right? I was like, I would go up and get things going, and I'd crash down hard because I didn't have the systems or the people in place to maybe operate the business the way that I wanted to. So it was just really interesting. Along this road, I kept adding people. So about 2017, I took on a partner named Ricky Magana. Is his name, right? So I brought in Ricky, and then we really start scaling this thing to where and then we went through we had to figure out how to be partners too, because that was kind of something that was interesting too, because he was kind of handling the one side of the business, and I was handling the other. But then we figured out we had to reverse things, because maybe what we thought he was good at, I was better at, and he was better at what I was doing. So we had to go through this process of just kind of like building it up and tearing it down, building it up and tearing it down. And I think pretty much right now we have really good people in place. I have a good sales team that they're incredible. Ricky's doing a good job on that. And it's just, that was the main thing, is just basically hiring the right people, training them, and then let them do their jobs.
You brought me in. It's like you wanted me to say something or something.
Me?
Are you good? Oh no, I think we lost Hernan.
On my end, his audio is really
No, I can
weird,
hear him just fine. It's just
him?
you. It's you. Oh well.
Can you hear me? Testing.
I can hear you, John. Can you hear me?
I think it might be me.
Oh, okay.
Who can hear me? Anybody can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear you, James.
I hear you.
Can you hear
I
John?
can hear you.
This is great live TV, folks. Oh man. All right. Well, John, unfortunately, Hernan's kind of cutting out a little bit, so hopefully he's able to jump in here for a sec. He's going to exit out and come back in. But you were just talking about, the journey that you took in becoming an entrepreneur. And, I agree with you. It's totally a journey, especially when you're working with somebody new, right? Like I've been in business with my brother. I should probably switch this. I've been in business with my brother since forever. Right? Like we've known each other. We grew up together. So for us to do business together, it was easy, almost natural. Right? But this person that you started working with, you had a lot to figure out. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey? Like, I'm really actually curious about what role you were in at the beginning of your business and what role he was taking and how you figured out that you had to switch.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I was doing the, so, like if you're rehabbing houses and construct, so, I was in the sales position where I was actually like going out, meet with people and trying to get contracts, trying to buy their
Mhm.
houses. Then I was running the construction crews
Mhm.
too, which is actually, those two jobs don't match up, right? Sales and construction, as far as being a salesman and trying to be a
Right, right,
construction
right, right.
person, right? And then Ricky was just kind of doing like an integrator, we called him. So he was basically doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, integrating stuff, because he is a real estate agent, and
Uh-huh.
he first he was new getting his license, and he just wanted to find his way, like, and I met him at an open house, and I just, like, I knew him from San Pedro, and we just kind of formed a partnership, and we just had to figure out, like, we had to figure it out together, and what happened is like, I think he's better. Ricky has a gym too, so
Mhm.
he owns a gym, so Ricky's really good at training people. Right. And then we
Oh.
figured it out. I was like, wait a minute, he's a personal trainer. He knows how to train people, and
Uh-huh.
he's really good at it. But it's really hard to be, it's really hard to, I was training the salespeople, which I honestly, I'm not that great at sales. I'll be the first to say it. So
It's
we
all right,
switched
buddy. I feel
roles.
you.
Yeah, I was good at like low hanging fruit. I'm good at meeting people, talking to you guys,
Sure.
and but as far as the follow up and all that other kind of stuff that really takes to be a really good salesman, I was too busy doing other things, right? Like trying to fix these houses, and so my joke is I got a tape measure in my hand. I'm measuring a kitchen, and the phone rings. So, and I was answering the phone live. So, do I answer the phone or drop the tape measure? Salespeople drop the tape measure. A construction
Absolutely.
guy doesn't want to answer the phone, right? Like,
For sure.
what's the joke about a construction guy? I called that contractor 10 times, he never called me back, right? So it's like,
I got a tape
but,
measure in my hand every time. What do you want from me?
I was working.
exactly. So what we did is we kind of figured out, like, hey, Ricky, like being the trainer that he is, he got really into the sales and really took some training and started really figuring it out and started getting good at sales on his own. But then we realized, you know what? Now we're at a point where we really need to bring in a sales girl,
Mhm.
a salesperson that happened to be a girl, Peggy. Then Peggy's a natural sales person. She's been doing it for years, and we brought her in, and then Ricky started training her and kind of letting her do her thing, and that's when we took off, because then she had support from Ricky, and then Peggy was able. She answers the phone live, and she's really good at building rapport and getting all the information from people and making them feel comfortable, because she's just naturally good at it, and it's true too, right? So once we did that, that was the game changer. About a year and a half ago, we just took off after that.
I got a
You know?
question. When you went hunting for that salesperson, like, I mean, you knew you needed a salesperson on your staff. How did you go
Right.
about finding one, and how did you know she was good at what you wanted her to do?
Yeah, it's funny. I knew Peggy through some mutual friends. So it just happened to be like I met her and I said, wow, she's great. What an interesting person, really nice, and I really liked her. And she was at a point in her life where she had a really good high paying sales job selling like a luxury link, it was called, for hotels, like selling,
Mhm.
like back when the internet, like, years ago, I think it was back in the early, 2000s, that she worked for a company that was selling luxury vacations, right? So she did it for a while. Well, the company just went out of business, and then she had like a 4 or 5 year old at the time. Her son was about 4 or 5. So she just wanted to she just kind of says, okay, I'll just start becoming a mom. And then she became a caretaker for her in-laws. So for about 10 years, she was just taking care of her in-laws. And unfortunately, her mother-in-law passed away. And
Mm.
I was at a party. I had a party at my house for like one of my charities that I was doing, and I just started talking to her. She's like, "Hey, I think I'm kind of done with being a caretaker. I want to get back into the sales business." And I said, "Oh, no brainer." So I kind of just brought her on, and we trained her a little bit, and so I knew her for a while. I was just like, sometimes they say that the people you need, maybe some of the people you need are right next to you. Well, that's just the way it worked. So it
It's
was
like
really
riding a
cool.
bike sales, huh?
What's that?
I said it's like riding a bike with sales. Like
Yeah.
once you did it, you know it, and you just get right
Yeah,
back on
she's
the
really
horse.
good. Yeah, she's really good at building rapport, and because we're buying people's houses, so she's really good, and all she does is tell the truth. That's the greatest thing about it, because we're doing this stuff based on these core values, and we don't vary from those. So when she's talking to people, it's like she's just telling them the truth. It's
Yeah,
great.
You
yeah.
know, I love that. I love this. Like to me, that's a discussion right there around like different types of salespeople, right? Because John, you were talking about, when you were measuring something, you got measuring tape in your hand, like that's a different type of salesperson. You are going to be quick and to the point. And your partner, Ricky, like he's a different type of salesperson. And then you've got Peggy, who's like a different type of salesperson too. And like each one just kind of hits a different note for your business.
Yeah, and you know what? You nailed it, because Ricky's more methodical. So when I talk to, I talk fast, I'm going, right? Ricky's more even keeled. Peggy's kind of in the middle of us, which is good. So it's just a great fit. And then we brought on someone recently named Stephanie. She's been around for maybe 6 weeks, and now we're trained her, and she's starting to talk to people, and she fits in really well with the sales team. So Stephanie's a new addition to the company. And and that's another thing too. We just used to hire people before, and we just throw them out there, and see what would happen. But we really took the time to train her, and she's trainable too. So we're really looking forward to getting her. We're excited that she's part of the team. And the other thing about it is that like we're growing, so she's going to fit right in. So it's really, and that was another realization too. We used to hire people and expect them to know everything in a day, where that's not the case, right? You have to train people. And Brian, that you met earlier before we jumped on, he's the admin, and he's doing a great job of just like keeping it all together, which is
so. What does it look like for you in the next few years? Like, where do you envision your company? Where do you see it as?
Well, it's funny because we just decided like this month. It's like it kind of expanded off. Actually a couple of weeks ago, we're like, let's just go from LA and Orange County to California, which has been really big. I mean, that's like we're getting leads now throughout the whole state, and I think we have 2 contracts from. A lot of stuff has happened today. I think we got like maybe 2 or 3 deals today. I haven't looked at the board. I have a whiteboard over here, but I've been busy doing other things. So deals are coming in as we're talking, which is great. And then we got our first deal in New Orleans, believe it or not. So now all of a sudden it's like, heck, we're all the way out in New Orleans. 2 weeks ago, I would have never thought that wasn't even on the when we thought about it, but it was one of those things where it's happening.
Are you like flying out there to do the ones in other states as well? Like you're going out
No,
there or wholesaling them off?
What's funny with that one is that we're going to wholesale that one off. Yeah. I know a guy through the business that lives there. So we already contacted him. Maybe he wants to buy it. So that's the one that we'll just wholesale. We're not really interested in fixing and flipping that one because it's just too far away,
So what's preventing you from reaching that vision or that goal that you want to achieve?
Nothing right now. I mean, I think right now we're that's what right now we're moving exactly where we want to go. I feel like we're on, we're at like 34 deals, I think, for this year. And next year we want to do 52, and still, heck, we still have another 20 days right now. So I wouldn't doubt if we get to 40. So I think maybe my 52 for next year might need to go up to 60, because I always want to keep pushing that out, right? I want to keep pushing that goal further so that we can stretch goals so we can hit it. So I think right now the sky's the limit, man. I'm sitting here right now. This is the best I've ever felt with this business. It's a really good feeling. Got some great team members. We got another guy coming on at the beginning of the year. We're training him right now. His name's Jonathan. So he's going to be kind of doing like the dispo side of the business, selling these wholesale properties or going out and meeting people, like a property inspector type of guy. So I think all the pieces are in place right now just to really blow this thing up. And I'm just excited. I just can't wait to see what happens.
Pushing that accelerator, just keep going and keep going and keep going. All right. So if everything's on the hunky dory, everything's on the good to go, and you're continuously accepting deals, you want to do more deals before the end of the year, even though we're rounding out 20 days left to go. If someone has a home that they need to get rid of, that they're looking for a cash buyer, how do they get a hold of you? And are you doing this in all states?
Well, I would say right now, let's just say California. And the best way is to go to our website, which is John Medina buyshouses.com. And there's some information on there. You could fill out a form or you could read about us. There's a phone number on there too, which is 310-928-9688. And give us a call. We answer the phone live. Peggy will answer the call and answer it, basically just have a conversation with you and see, see where it goes.
Dude, that's what do you feel about the market? Like, I've always wondered, is as a flipper, I started doing flipping around 2012, around 2018. I had this feeling like things were at the peak of a market. And I've always been worried about, getting caught with your pants down, like multiple properties in and a market shifts the other way. a fear is a fear. You can always make money in up markets and down markets. But what's your pulse on where the market is going in 2022?
Yeah, that's another good one. I have a coach. His name's Jerry Green. So I'm in a thing called the Accountability Board, and he talked about that yesterday. And it's something that I try to stay. There's a lot of opinions out there on this, but my opinion is that definitely interest rates are going up from what the Fed was saying, right? So once interest rates go up, that's gonna bring down the affordability is already pretty low right now. Like in California, last time I checked, it was in the low 20s. So at least in California, if it's into the teens, a lot of times that's the end of a bubble. That's when the bubble bursts. So I definitely think we're playing with that number right there. So I am concerned, but then again, too, like you're saying, I don't, sometimes there's more opportunities when things, change. So I am concerned about that. I'm not fearful, but I do want to kind of watch where it's going. And I think the other thing is that there's not a lot of inventory though on the other side. So what's going on with that, right? So I think this with the lack of inventory, with interest rates going up, but they're only, they can go up to like they're saying 3.5%, which is still totally doable, but less people could afford the house. But maybe we're at the end of of an accelerated appreciation. And I don't know where we're going to go from there, right? I mean, we could go down, we could stay the same, sideways. I just don't know.
Yeah, as the moratoriums are lifted, as student loans come back into the picture, there's a lot of questions about what's going to be happening in 2022 for sure.
Yeah.
And do you have a game plan or strategy that you're thinking of going into if that kind of changes? I'm kind of curious.
Well, you know what? One thing about it is that I think maybe just do more wholesale deals if that's the case, because they're shorter times. So you're buying the average wholesale deal might be 23 days. That's what we try to keep it at or less. Flips are longer, right? Flip is like anywhere from 3 to 6 months as far as start to finish, right? So you get overextended on that. So I think maybe it's just, and then the other thing on flipping is that you can't buy with tight margins. You might have to really just make sure that you got some margins there, things correct, that you're gonna be okay. And then California is kind of tough with the price point being so high, but maybe one of the exit strategies might have to be that you have to keep it for a rental. I don't really want to do that, but I think we're pretty capitalized right now. If that's the case, we might be able to write some things out by maybe just turn them into rentals. In the long run, won't be a bad thing.
It had to be a good thing that Zillow stopped their iBuyer program for you guys, right? I mean, that kind of opened up some more doors and more opportunities.
Yes and no. I mean, what's interesting is that that's the feedback we get from people is that they like us because we're kind of the local family-owned business. That's like the corporate business that people sometimes want to stay away from. And it's funny, if you call those guys up, they don't call you right back. We answer the phone line, right?
They probably have a measuring tape.
Excuse me?
They probably have a measuring tape.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And we get feedback. It's like, oh, I called whoever it was, and they said they get back to me in 2 days. So people are turned off by that. But yeah, I think Zillow just basically they gave everybody a good example of what not to do if you're going to be flipping houses. Pay retail and expect to get more.
Sometimes you get your butt kicked at a high level. It's okay. They're still a dominating factor nonetheless.
Yeah,
all right, John, you've been an amazing guest, dude. I mean, what you're doing is awesome. It's really cool to have it as a mom and pop shop. Reminds me of one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's a Wonderful Life. Not quite the same. Savings and loans different from wholesale and flipping, but in the same space. And it's because you're the guy coming in and trying to help a community out. You're the mom and pop guy trying to make it happen. And appreciate what you're doing out there. I got one last question for you, and we asked this of all our guests. Creating content is the work that we do, right? That's the fun part of having a podcast. And you just did a 30-minute stint of work with us. So what was it like working with us on the Business Bros podcast today?
This is great, man. This has been a lot of fun. You guys bring a lot of energy. I'm just excited. I keep talking to you guys for forever. You guys ask good questions too. So you guys are bringing some real stuff to people. Right, and I think you guys have a lot. You guys have a lot to offer. And I did some research too on you guys before I got on. you guys just have some good content out there and some good interviews, and I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Let me ask you this, because I don't think people quite understand that. If you Googled Business Bros, or if you Googled my name, was there a lot that shows up for us?
Well, yeah, I did get some information, and I was able to get to the podcast. I think it was through Apple, and you guys have YouTube, and I looked at you on Facebook, and I'm sure you have a Twitter account. I didn't get that deep, but yeah, you guys are totally, I mean, just type in, Business Bros and podcasts, and you guys come up big time. You got a lot of content out there.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gents. That's what it's all about. Look, there's two ways that you're going to go out and make some money by grabbing customers, and you got to go where they are. And the way you do it, number one, is you try to do it organically. You build it one-to-one, prospecting, a little bit of networking, doing that. The other way is paid ads. Like, you literally have to put yourself out there in front of people. And it used to be mailers in the mail, which you can still do. It used to be billboards, which you can still do. But today's more technological billboard is an ad that shows up in front of what your customer is looking at. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all of them, right? TikTok, every single one. And just like in John's business, what he said earlier is he's getting his stuff from online, meaning he's putting messages like this on the podcast out to the world saying, JohnMedinaBuysHomes.com. That's what he's telling you every single day. JohnMedinaBuysHomes.com. So if you see that pop up on your feed, it's because it comes from his content creation, coming on podcasts, whatever content he makes out and puts out on a regular basis. And if you need help getting that stuff down, make sure you guys go to businessbros.biz, because we'd love to help you with that. Everything from creating your social media to video testimonials to managing your paid ads so that you can get more customers just like John does. I'm going to tell you right now, you ready to sell your home? You don't want to deal with a real estate agent? Even though I'm a real estate agent, but I know there's times you don't want to deal with a real estate agent. Make sure you guys go to JohnMedinaBuysHomes.com or BuysHouses.com. JohnMedinaBuysHouses.com and see if you can get a cash offer. It's really quick and easy. A lot of times, John, you guys can close in like 10 days or less, right?
Yeah, I mean 7 if you're really good, but whatever you're comfortable with, we can get it done. And we give people sometimes cash advances too. If you're in a cash crunch and you need some cash, we can, once you clear title and we know you own the house, there's no problems with us, giving you some money up front to help you.
That home you're in is an asset, ladies and gents. Well, not by Robert Kiyosaki's terms, but for these other investor terms, it can be. So that's why it's an asset to them. So that's why they're able to get you that cash that you need to help you move out, do what you need to do. So if you need to sell your home, one more time, JohnMedinaBuysHouses.com. We'll see you guys again mañana. John, thank you very much for being on the show. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. SHIT, so happy it's Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@siasfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.